Hello everyone and welcome back to the Knit Witch podcast. I am your host, the Knit Witch, and today is a great day if you are a Chiefs fan. Today is Monday, February 12th. It's actually very early in the morning, a lot earlier than I usually record, but I got a lot to get done today. And in Rhode Island, we are expecting a snowstorm this evening into tomorrow, and we're supposed to get 10 inches of snow where I live. You wouldn't be able to tell by looking at the weather outside currently because it's sunny and it's going to be, I think, 50 degrees today, 50, and we're expecting 10 inches of snow tomorrow, but that's just New England weather for you. So I'm trying to get everything I possibly can done early this morning because most likely, living in the woods, I'm gonna lose power. So this potentially may not be uploaded until far later in the week, but today is Monday. So happy Monday, happy Super Bowl if you are a Chiefs fan. Like I said, I am not a Chiefs fan, I am a Green Bay Packers fan, so mostly I was just rooting for the 49ers to lose, but wish granted. So this is a knitting podcast, so why don't we dive on into the knitting, shall we? I do have some finished objects to show you today. So I showed both of these items last time. The first finished object I have is this pair of blue socks for my boyfriend. Oh my god, I just realized I did the exact same thing I did a couple episodes ago when I was wearing a me-made item. I totally neglected to say that this is my single malt sweater. I showed this in the very first episode of the podcast and I mentioned that I had yet to block it. Well, I finally did that only 4 months after it was finished, maybe? Let's not talk about that. So I finally did block it and I am wearing it. And as I mentioned in that first episode, this is a very rustic wool. Let me cover my face, but I don't know if you'll be able to see all of the hairs on this sweater, but it is definitely a rustic wool. So I just have a little long sleeve Henley on underneath to kind of protect my delicate, sensitive skin. It is insanely warm though, which is why I'm wearing it, because even though I said it was going to be about 50 degrees today, it's 9 a.m. so it's still in the 30s. So that's why I have this bad boy on. Super warm. It's actually my first time wearing it, not just to try it on, so it's my first time wearing it for warmth. And it's doing its job. It's doing a great job. So back to the finished objects, besides this glorious one that I am wearing. So my first recent finished object is this pair of socks that I knit for my boyfriend. I dyed the yarn myself and it's not going to show up very well on camera because my camera absolutely hates the color blue. It has these like dark navy stripes, but the kind of whole base of it is this really turquoisey blue, and it does have some little itty bitty splotches of green in there, which I'm sure my camera is blowing out of proportion and making it seem like the entire sock is knit with a navy and green yarn, because that's just what it does. But this, see, it looks real green back here. It's not that green, I promise. It's a very true turquoise blue with navy and green stripes. But I dyed the yarn myself, as I have waxed on about. I also designed the pattern myself. This is a pattern sample for a pattern that's going to be releasing at some point in the future. Not entirely sure when. I'm not really in a rush. I don't really have a deadline or anything like that. So this is just going to be a broken rib sock pattern that is knit toe up with a heel flap and gusset. I love the way this yarn looks in the heel flap. That looks so cool, all the little stripes in there. So this is the size medium from the pattern. This will be for my boyfriend. I had to record this a little bit early too because these are going to be a Valentine's Day present for him. So these are going straight into the gift bag. Of course, beautifully wrapped and with a handwritten card and all that jazz, all that romantic stuff. So these are for him. And my next finished object, I definitely showed these last time. These are a pair of commissioned socks for, I don't want to say their name because I feel like that's for like privacy reasons. So these are a pair of commissioned socks, and my brain is spiraling. The whole purpose of me knitting these commissioned socks was the person I'm knitting them for said that they don't like the feeling of a seam on like a store-bought sock. So they wanted to try out hand knit socks to see if that alleviates any of that discomfort. So again, toe up with a heel flap and gusset, and then I did a ribbed leg. This is the rib pattern on the leg is from my most recent sock pattern release. I always feel so like guilty talking about things that I've designed. I don't know why. I just need to get over it. I think it's imposter syndrome, but I need to get over it and say I designed the ribbing on the leg, which is very hard to show. I talk about this every time too. It's very hard to show ribbing on camera. Let me try and center this on my hand so I can kind of spread it out and show it to you. So it's a mixture of a 3x2 and a 2x2 ribbing, just for some extra interest as you're knitting it, so it's not just plain 2x2 the whole way, because I don't know about you, but I hate knitting 2x2 ribbing for some reason. So it's a mix of 3x2 and 2x2, and really it's a free pattern because it wasn't all that difficult to figure out. So if you want to take a crack at it, it's free on Ravelry. Always hate self-promotion, but toe up, heel flap, and gusset, ribbed leg from my pattern, dyed the yarn myself, which that's apparently my trademarked phrase now. They said they like really neutral colors, so I went with this black and gray, kind of speckly vibe. It like spirals a little bit on the leg, which I kind of like. Sometimes I like that spiraling effect, and a lot of times I don't like it, but with this just like neutral spiral, I think it looks really cool. So those are my two finished objects for this episode. I'm looking down to check my notes. Let's move on to whips, which are going to be shockingly similar to the finished objects. Usually I start off this whip section with saying, oh, you've seen this one before. It's my cloud watching sweater which is a pattern by Suzanne Sommer. Today, I will not be doing that. Not because it's finished. No. It's because I have not worked on it. I have worked on it, actually. I have knit 2 rows, which in the grand scheme of a sweater, you're not going to be able to really see a difference, so I don't really think it's worth showing, just for both of our sakes, you know. You're not going to be able to tell the difference in 2 rows of progress on a sweater, so you'll see that next time. If I work on it, you'll see that next time. So, cloud watching sweater, it's in the background right now. It's taken a little nap. I have been working on socks like crazy. So, let's keep it parallel structure here, right? So let's do these blue socks. Sorry, I'm looking down to grab them and stuff. Let's do my blue socks first. So this is, again, self-promotion. The blue socks from my boyfriend. I mentioned were going to be a pattern sample for my upcoming sock pattern. He wears a size medium, which is 64 stitches. I wear a size small, which is 56 stitches. And it's always a pain to say that. 56 stitches. So I have just a little matching sock. And if you have been watching for a while, you will remember I showed these maybe 3 episodes ago now, and I had about that much done. I didn't work on them until suddenly I was like, I need to make us matching socks, and I worked on them. So this is the size small of my pattern, again, toe up with a heel flap and gusset, and this is a new yarn base that I'm testing out. This is a non-superwash 80/20 4-ply sock yarn, and it's insane. I love it so much. So spoiler alert, that's gonna be in the dye pots for the next 2 weeks. That's just what I'm gonna be dyeing. So if you're interested in non-superwash sock yarn, I'm sure there will be some in the shop later. So I dyed this yarn myself, as I'm sure you already guessed if you've been watching for any length of time, even the past 10 minutes that I've been recording. So it's just, I had a little, this was like semi a yarn mop. I had some extra blue in the kettle one day, and so I like dip dyed this skein with the blue. So it's got just like some nice dark blue or like dark turquoise sections, little micro stripes in there with some nice like really, really light pastel blue. And then I did some black speckles on it, and I used a non-primary black, so the black broke and left us with these really cool like orangey rust colors and some purple, which I don't really know how well is going to show up on camera, but like this is like a nice stripe of purple, and then these are like more rusty orange speckles up there. Could potentially just look black on camera, but in real life you can, they're like, it's like distinctly a brown and a purple speckle, and it looks really, really cool. So this is the front, which is not centered on my hand, but that is the front of the sock. And then similar pattern on the back. Look at, can I show you the heel real quick? Because I love the heel. There is my little baby heel flap. You can see kind of the stripes and the speckles. I don't know. I just really love it. So obviously this is a half finished object. This sock is complete. I am working on the second sock, and I think I stopped last night because I think it's time for the gusset increases. Because when you do toe up socks with a heel flap and gusset, you need to increase for the gusset. So I'm fairly certain that it's time for the gusset increases on this, which is just the second sock of the pair. Yeah, these speckles look black for sure, but they're so pretty. So pretty. I love these so much. And it's going to be so cute when we have our little matching socks on. So almost done with these. They'll probably be done next episode. So next up, keeping it in parallel structure, I have a very similar half-finished object to the finished socks. I have a very similar half-finished object to the finished object I just showed you. So those gray socks were knit for a commission, and one of my old coworkers from one of my old jobs saw those socks, and she was like, Katie, I want those. And I was like, okay. So I like knitting with color. I like knitting with speckly yarn. I like knitting with yarn that creates micro stripes because I find that it adds another level of fun when you're knitting. For me, knitting, even though this is micro stripes, knitting a black and gray ribbed sock, that is one of the most boring things I could do. So when my darling old coworker asked me, and love her to death, that's why I did it, when she asked me to make her socks, I was, you know, over the moon. I was like, of course I'll make you some sock. I love making socks. Of course I'll do it. And she was like, I really like those gray ones that you knit. Could I have a pair of charcoal gray ribbed socks? And I said, of course. Because I love you. Even though it will cause me great pain to knit them, I will do it. So these, I did dye the yarn slightly differently. I used a different shade of black, which I know that sounds so silly. I used a different shade of black, and I actually mixed it with brown. So this black has more of a like sandy undertone. And like if you compare the two, you can really tell. So like this one has a like really green or blue undertone, and this one has a very neutral sandy base. So, you know, it is different. It is different. That's what I tell myself the whole time I'm knitting them. It is different. It's a different sock. This this finished pair is vanilla on the foot, and this one is true to my pattern, so it's got ribbing along the entirety of the foot. Mentioning my pattern again, but toe up, heel flap, and gusset. I love the heel flap. The heel flap looks so cool. And then, yep, we got that really neutral gray ribbed sock. And I am almost done with the second sock. I counted this morning and I think I only have 10 or 15 rows to do. Let me try and cover my face. You don't want to see that, you want to see the socks. Look at that toe too. That's so emo, right? I love it. And then gotta show you the heel flap on these ones because it is, you know, just ever so slightly different. It's just the nature of hand-dyed yarn. Can I compare them for you? Oh yeah. Beautiful. I love them. So yeah, you can tell I'm really almost done. Knitting these on a 9-inch circular. I haven't said the needles or sizes for any of the yarn or any of the projects that I've been working on. Super sorry. These were US 1 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular. These were US 1 2.25 millimeter magic loop. My blue socks for myself are US 1 2.25 millimeter magic loop, as you can see with my needles dangling out of it. And then these are US 1 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular, as you can see. So if you're interested in that at all, there you go. Just information, just gave you the whole info dump. So these are almost done and they are a gift, so you will probably not see them as a finished object in the next episode. I may or may not have photos to show you, but you've seen them now, and I really do like this color combination. This, the black and brown that I mixed together, I think it came out really cool. And of course, dip dyed with micro stripes because that's just my MO. It's just the yarn that I like to make, the yarn that I like to knit with. So that's what I'm doing. And I think it's coming out really cool. So those are your 2 deja vu work in progresses. Now, this is something that you will have seen for the past few episodes if you have been watching for that long, and this is my Mussel Faker. My neon Mussel Faker hat made with yarn by Old Rusted Chair. This is the colorway Don't Forget Your Shades, and it's called that because it is blatantly neon. It's gorgeous. I love this colorway so much. I love the way it's knitting up. It's so pretty. I know sometimes hand-dyed yarn, especially in a Musselburgh hat, so let's back up. I call it a Mussel Faker because it's kind of the same construction as a Musselburgh, but it has a windmill or spiral or circle crown, which is my preference, and the Musselburgh hat as written has a box-shaped crown, which I am not a fan of. So making it up as I go along, just doing my own thing. This beautiful neon yarn, and of course it's stockinette, so it's rolling, but this thing is a beast. Look at that. Yes, I'm staring at myself in the viewfinder. Oh my god. So I really like the way it's working up too, because I know it's more true to color back here. So the crown on this end is like super blue. I'm sorry, I'm still staring at myself. The crown on this end is really blue, right? And then as we're getting further and further down here, the crown is getting really pink. So obviously you can see that it's, in my opinion, it's more pink down here and it's more blue up here, which is really cool, and it's totally unintentional, and it's just the nature of the way that this yarn was dyed. But I'm really excited because that means that's it's going to be like a true, like, two-way hat. So if you are unfamiliar with the Musselburgh, it's a very popular hat pattern by Isolde Teague, and the basic construction of it is that you will have a double-ended hat, so you will have 2 crowns, one at each end, and you will just fold the hat inside itself so that you end up with a double layer of fabric. And because you have 2 crowns, it is reversible. Some people will do like a half and half, and use 2 different yarns, and so they have 2 different hats that are both, you know, double thick. So that's why I'm getting really excited about this, is because I'm gonna have like one end that's blue and one end that's pink, so it'll really be super reversible hat. This is the amount of yarn I have left. It's just a little bitty baby. I weighed it this morning, and this is exactly 20 grams. And I know it's not going to focus because of my face, but this is 20 grams. And I'm kind of spoilerizing you right now, but I need 15 grams to do my decreases. So I'm gonna knit my tube for 5 more grams and then begin my crown decreases, and then it will be done. So this potentially will be done next time I podcast. Depends on how long that time frame is and how much time I have for knitting, because I got a lot of other stuff going on in my other business, my dyeing business. Not dyeing, but yarn dyeing, my yarn dyeing business. So got a lot of stuff going on there, so I may or may not have time to knit on this, but if it's not done next time, it'll be almost done. So now back to the spoilerization of you. So you may be wondering, oh, Katie, how did you know that your decreases would take 15 grams of yarn? That's because I started another one. This, if you watched last time, this is my, sorry, my yarn's caught, my DPNs. This is my cool toned swatch skein from some of the new dyes that I got last time I placed a dye order, and I like, oh, it's visceral how much I love this. It's on DPNs right now because obviously my circular is being used for the other Mussel Faker hat. So exact same construction here with the spiralized crown, same stitch counts and everything. I neglected to mention that I tried on my neon hat and I forgot about negative ease and how I should probably incorporate that into my stitch count. Totally just slipped my mind. So this hat has exactly no ease in it. There's crows outside. So the neon hat has exactly no ease in it, which when I tried it on, I was like, can't believe I forgot about that. However, it does fit my boyfriend with the perfect amount of negative ease. So I will most likely be gifting that beautiful neon hat to him. This beautiful blue hat is also probably going to him, and it's the exact same stitch count. So I know it'll fit him perfectly. Even though, oh my gosh, I cannot even begin to describe to you how much I love the way that this yarn is working up. And it's, you know, of course it's a one-of-a-kind skein that's impossible to ever recreate. Even though it's just like, that is glorious to me. And you'll be able to see it next time if I have it on the DPNs, or that's the other thing that I mean. You'll be able to see it next time if I have it on my circular needle. It like once, I'll have to do like a switcheroo once I start doing the decreases on the neon one. It'll have to move to DPNs, and then the blue one will get to move to the circular needle. So you'll be able to see the colors a lot better next time. But oh my god, I love this so much. I can't get enough of it. That is breathtaking in my opinion. And I'm sorry, I keep tooting my own horn. I love this. I love this so much. So those are all of my knitting works in progress. Let's move on to spinning, which is a sentence I haven't said in eons, it feels like. So I have not been spinning recently. I've just kind of totally lost my, oh gosh, I got fuzz in my eye. I've totally just lost my spinning mojo, and it hasn't necessarily made a comeback because that is the only thing I've spun. So I have this braid, what are you? I have this braid of, I think it's 100% Merino. I don't know if it's superwash or not, but it's from Paradise Fibers, and I bought it for my birthday. It's in the colorway Mystic Forest. I don't have any of the fiber with me, I just have my spindle. So it's in the colorway Mystic Forest, and it's got these like beautiful blues and turquoise and pink and purple, and I already spun 50 grams of it. It was a 100-gram braid. I already spun 50 grams and I wound that off onto a nitty knotty, and I have the other 50 grams all like portioned out in the way that I want to spin it. This is probably about 10 grams on here currently. How can I angle this for you so you can see it? I feel like my camera just does not want to focus on this. And I've noticed that the past couple times I've shown my spinning, it just refuses to look at the ply that's on the bobbin. So Anyway, I have about 40 more grams to spin and no desire to do it. So when my spinning mojo comes back, it's like all there ready for me. I have it all like pre-drafted and wound into balls in the exact order that I want to spin it. So whenever my spinning mojo makes a reappearance, it'll be so easy for me to finish this, and then you'll have a beautiful hand spun yarn to look at next time. Next time it comes back, I should say. So that's it for spinning. What do we want to do next? Do we want to do yarn dyeing or boyfriend knitting? Let's do yarn dyeing. I unfortunately was not here at my house at all last week, so I don't have that much yarn dyeing to share with you. I have 6 skeins that will be in the shop and then 2 skeins for personal use. So let's just go ahead and show you some of the skeins that will be in the shop. So this is the, oh my goodness, it looks so good on camera, holy cow. Okay, so this is the first set of skeins that are, my tummy just grumbled. This is the first set of skeins that will be going in the shop. Oh yes, that is, I love it. I love, my camera does horribly with blue, but it does amazing with orange, which I feel like is the opposite of what cameras usually do. So let's get a close-up on these guys. So this is an 80/20 2-ply sock yarn or fingering weight yarn. And as you can see, the base color is orange, and then it just has these like red and brown and even green little speckles and splotches and stuff in there. And so yeah, it's like super fiery and super pumpkin-y and autumnal, and I know it's February, I know, and this is totally an October or November colorway, but guess who doesn't care? It's me. So I have these 2 beauties, 80/20 2-ply sock yarn, superwash merino, 21 microns, so it's very, very soft. And yeah, they are these beautiful, beautiful babies. I love them. So I have those 2. Same base, but I have them in purple. Oh my god, these look so good. Okay, I twisted these so poorly because when I'm done podcasting, I have to go inside and take photos of them for my listings. So which means I have to untwist them. So they're not perfect. So please don't judge me for my twisting skills, okay? But I have these bad boys. Look at them. Or should I say bad ladies? They're purple. They're beautiful. So the way that I did these is I used 2 different concoctions, if you will, 2 different mixtures of purple. So I had a very like warm toned pinky purple and a very cool toned bluey purple, and I did like a little dip dye, like half and half moment. So you'll have this like tonal micro striping between a cool toned and a warm toned purple. And then of course I had to do some speckling on there because who am I without my speckles? And so I like swapped them, and I did the cool toned speckles on the warm toned and the warm toned speckles on the cool toned to kind of like balance it out. So it looks really cool. In my own personal opinion, I didn't think it looked cool. I probably wouldn't be making it or selling it. So look at them though. Look at the freaking speckles, dude. They look so cool. So again, 80/20 2-ply sock yarn, superwash merino, 21 microns. Yes, I'm staring at the viewfinder if you can see my little glasses poking out. Sorry for the poor twisting skills, as I've said. Look at the shine though. The shine on this freaking yarn. It is so pretty. It's so pretty. I love them. How can I like remove my hands from this shot in my face so you can just see the beautiful yarn? So pretty. So I have those 2. And then I have these 2, which are on a different base. This is my 70/30 4-ply sock yarn, superwash merino, not super soft, a little bit more rustic, and to me this feels and it knits like a non-superwash wool, which is my preference, which is why this is my favorite sock yarn base. Oh gosh, I almost dropped it. So this is what both pairs of gray socks were knit on, is this base. And this is just a navy blue and like a poppy orange kind of dip dye, and so of course you get the green in there from the blue and yellow mixing color theory. So again, these are a little bit poorly twisted. Please forgive me. So the base of this, this orange section, base is actually yellow, and then it has orange speckles and splotches on there. So you can see there's a lot of variation in that yellowy orange section. So I have 2 skeins of this for socks, and that's it for the shop, unfortunately. I love also, I'm sure you won't be able to tell on camera because, as I've said, my camera does not enjoy the color blue, but this like navy section is super heathered, so it's almost, you almost get the effect of like a dark wash denim, how it has those really like light threads running through it, so it just gives extra dimension. But I'm just going off. I love that effect. And of course, who else loved it but my boyfriend? And he requested that I make him a pair of blue and orange socks. So I did something slightly differently. This is a yarn base that I don't like, but I have it, so I'm gonna use it up. This is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon sock yarn. I don't like it because I find that it's too thin of a yarn. It's just not my preference. And it's, you know, it's 75-25, which I think is so boring. So I don't sell this yarn base, but I have it, so I dye with it, just for myself to use it up. So I dyed up for him another blue and orange dip dyed colorway. This one has a lot more really like light blue. I don't even know what shade that is. It's almost like a periwinkle, like it has notes of purpliness to it, which is really cool. And then the orange that I dyed for him is really, really orange. You can see it's like super pumpkin-y right there at the tip. So these, or this, I should say, this skein will become socks for him. So when you come back in the future, you may see this as a whip, and then you'll be able to see how this skein would knit up, because they're the same technique, similar colors. But yeah, you'll be able to get a little preview of how that blue and orange would knit up once I start on these socks. So these will be my boyfriend's next pair of socks. I'm like on a kick. I'm on a sock. I mean, I always knit socks. Socks are one of my favorite things to knit in general, but I'm on like a kick of knitting my boyfriend's socks specifically because number one, he's so knitworthy. Number two, it's winter, so I don't want to say he needs socks, like he doesn't own any socks, but I enjoy seeing him wear socks that I've knit for him. So let's just leave it at that. I also dyed a skein of DK weight for him to knit with. I thought this was like so clever, and you know, because he specifically asked for blue and orange for socks for him, but he liked it so much that I was like, I will dye for him a full skein of it and then he can knit with it. So this is DK weight, same exact coloration as the sock yarn for him, but this is 100% wool, non-superwash, DK weight, which will be a present for him. So like a little Valentine's Day present, because he knits. If you I haven't even shown the boyfriend knitting yet, but he knits. I taught him how to knit and he loves every minute of it, so I thought I would dye him some of his own special yarn. So that is for him, and then these will become socks for him. So that is it for the yarn dyeing. And now we can move on to boyfriend knitting, which is honestly, that's my favorite segment. It's going to be a little bit shorter today as I'm playing with his knitting, but he does have I don't want to discourage or like poop on his parade and be like, this is a real whip, and his long green scarf, which I can totally insert pictures for you, his practice scarf, that was totally a whip, but like this is something that deserves a Ravelry project page, okay? So he is knitting Grandma's favorite dishcloth with no holes. So we're doing reverse yarn overs instead of regular yarn overs, so we don't get any holes in the increases. And this is just some cotton yarn that we got at Joann's, but it looks freaking beautiful, does it not? So I'm still gonna be staring at myself, but from behind the cotton curtain of this dishcloth. So he's already turned the corner. As you can see, this is like, you knit this on the bias. If you've never knit, grandma's favorite. You start at one corner and then you knit on the bias to the opposite corners. I'm explaining this so poorly. You basically increase one triangle and decrease another triangle, and by the end it makes a square. Sorry, it's my quick and dirty explanation of it. But it looks so good. He's doing such a good job. Look at his freaking gauge. That's why I keep bringing it closer to the camera, because look at his freaking gauge, dude. Look at his tension. It's beautiful. Look at the drape of this cotton. Like, he is superb. He is an excellent freaking knitter. I am so proud of him. I'm a little bit jealous of his natural talent because he's been knitting. I taught him how to knit for like his New Year's resolution type thing. So he's only been knitting since the first week of January, and it is currently the second week of February. So he's been knitting for what, 5 weeks? When I was a 5-week-old knitter, my stuff did not look this good. So I'm just so proud. And like I said, natural born talent. He is so good. I'm so impressed and so proud, and that's why I like to share my boyfriend's knitting, because I'm just so proud of him. So, little dishcloth. We might have a finished object next week. Oh, it would make an excellent bandana as well. I can just leave that there for my outro. So, really, really proud of him. You got a little sneak peek at his Valentine's Day presents. You saw the 6 skeins of yarn that are going into my shop. If this is the first time you're watching and you're like, her shop? What the heck is that? I sell my hand-dyed yarn on Etsy, and I know my kerchief just fell off, so pardon that. Little strip tease. I sell my hand-dyed yarn on Etsy. You are more than welcome to go check it out if you so choose. You obviously don't have to, but that is just it's one of my passions, so. Like I said, hate self-promotion. You can also check out my patterns on Ravelry. I guess we're on a roll with this whole self-promotion thing. You can check out my patterns on Ravelry. I can leave all my information linked below. I had questions about how to get involved with the test knit for these broken rib socks that I showed earlier. You can email me, knitwitchpod@gmail.com, if you would like to get involved with the test knit for that. There's literally no deadline because I'm not in a rush in any way, shape, or form. So I think that is everything. I'm checking my notes again. I'm pretty sure that's everything. So, I'm excited for the snowstorm. If you live in New England, get excited with me. And I will see you very soon on the next episode of the Knit Witch podcast. And until then, happy making!